Hello and welcome to this week's Hippie Hyena. Instead of looking at one big video this week, I thought we'd take a look at lots of little, smaller bits of various crazy right-winger things that I found online. Let's check it out.
Hey, God bless America, everybody. Guess what?
You're driving around while recording, thus putting your own life and everyone around you's life in danger?
It's a game changer. Trump's gonna win the election.
What, via the power of time travel? Because the election's over and he didn't win.
The alternative electoral voters have already voted for Trump in several states. Then it's gonna go to Congress, and Mike Pence is gonna preside over that, so we're gonna win, baby! I just wanted you to hear it first from Jim in the truck right out here, driving across the fruited plain, in the name of Jesus Christ, the only name given among men under heaven. Whereby we must be saved. Hey, what happened? I'll tell you. I finally got some respect. What do you know?
And also, you're not putting your hands on the wheel of the car or the truck while you're driving it. And you're not even looking out the windscreen. You're looking at your phone while you post videos to TikTok. For God's sake, someone take this guy's license away from him because he's a danger to everyone. He's also completely insane because he believes that Trump won the election when he obviously didn't. And maybe for that reason, too, he probably shouldn't be allowed to drive a big hulking truck, which it looks like this is. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Anyway, have a blessed day, man. That's the best news you're going to hear. This is a unprecedented, amazing thing. I just did a prayer for Trump, and look what happened. The next thing I know, I'm sending that to all my friends. I want you to look at the Next News Network. That's the first one coming out with it. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's amazing how such a large number of people can be so diverged from reality. That is amazing. Because it used to be that, like, if people were sort of, thinking that the earth is flat or that Jesus is speaking to them or aliens are controlling their brainwaves, you'd call them sort of insane, because insanity basically means having fervent beliefs which are completely at odds with reality. But it becomes harder and harder to call people actually insane when there's so many of them that share the same completely bonkers delusion. I mean, we sort of have the word cult for people who sort of believe that sort of crazy stuff in larger numbers, but even cult implies a smaller number when it's kind of like 40% of the American population and maybe around sort of 25% of the British population. I'm not sure about other countries, but it probably sort of oscillates between the two, 20 to 50% of the population basically living in a parallel existence where everything is true is false and everything that's false is true. It's absolutely baffling. Just the sheer amount of effort that must go in to these people trying to maintain their cognitive dissonance. I mean, if they could take that energy and actually put it into something productive for society, it would be incredible. It would change the world. It would instantly solve all of our energy crises, that's for sure. Anyway, on to the next clip.
Something I don't know if President Trump knows. If you actually leave, we're not going to stop. And it won't be organized. And it probably isn't going to be as clean as had you done it.
But it is going to be hilarious. So imagine a collection of the most idiotic, poorly educated, and smooth-brained people on the planet trying to form some kind of organized terrorist action. I mean, if you've seen the film Four Lions, this is going to be basically like the Three Stooges mixed with Dumb and Dumber with some guns and bombs. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. We're going to see more idiotic MAGA chuds blowing themselves up and shooting themselves in the legs and the buttocks and possibly even the face than we could possibly hope for. But to be honest, more likely than that, what we're going to see is a lot of people LARPing about on social media, maybe even waving guns and sort of making terroristic threats, which are probably illegal in their own right. But my guess is that they're probably too cowardly and too feeble to actually do anything at all outside of a few angry parlor tweets, whatever you call them.
I say this because it's true. I'm not doing or living under an illegitimate presidency. I'm not living under something that was absolutely rigged by China and Iran.
Good, so we're in agreement then. You're just gonna live peacefully for the next 4 to 8 years under Biden.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Why would I continue to pay my taxes? Why would I continue to follow your illegal laws? No taxation without representation. So I'm not being represented. If you allow it to be stolen, I will make my life's mission to take back America, however that means.
Awesome. I hope he does refuse to pay tax. Because I'd quite like to see people like him going to prison for a very long time. And not paying your tax is a good way to go about that. Cool, on to the next clip.
This is a message for the corrupt bodies at Betfair and Paddy Power and other various corrupt organizations who have stolen money from our patriot gamblers.
Haha, awesome. This is about the fact that quite a lot of Trump supporters were so sure that he was going to win that they placed a lot of money on him winning. And now that he didn't win and they lost all their money and they're still trying to pretend that he did, they're kind of upset with the bookies. I mean, I'm not really a fan of bookies, but they kind of, in this case, lost their money fair and square. They put their money on something idiotic and obviously not going to happen. It turned out that they were wrong, obviously. They lost their money. They need to deal with it. But right-wingers aren't very good at dealing with things, are they? They tend to just overdose on that sweet, sweet copium and live in a state of dreamlike denial. But no amount of denial is going to make those gambling companies give them any money or change the fact that they just gambled the farm on a total loser.
The bookie busters are coming. The bookie busters are coming. Fraud has run rampant at Betfair. They've paid the bets out far too early. And they've stolen money from our patriot gamblers. And there's been fraud at the bookie, and we will step in. The bookie busters are on their way.
Man, this is just a swathe of good news. Even more MAGA idiots are going to be arrested. Awesome.
I don't know if the money's going towards Soros or Antifa, but we will follow the money. We will track the money, and we will find where it has gone, and we will get it back. We will get the money back in the patriot gambler pockets. I promise you that, and thank you.
Well, I guess if you're a lunatic right-winger, the cope springs eternal, doesn't it? Anyway, on to the next clip.
Talk about the 36 women that say Trump has raped them.
So this young TikTok Trump supporter is addressing the 36 allegations of rape against Donald Trump, which on the surface is pretty damning, and underneath that surface is also pretty damning. So I wonder how he's going to cognitive dissonance around this issue. Perhaps he'll straight up deny it, or attempt to discredit the victims. I mean, usually that's the right-wing way, to smear the victims of rape to protect rapists. But let's see if he's got somewhat of a novel approach to this conundrum.
Now, if you look at it from a normal stance, you'll say that raping 36 women is way too many and that anybody should be in prison for that.
Well, to be honest, I'd say that raping one woman is too many, and you definitely should be in prison for that. But 36? My god, that's just completely round the bend. I mean, somewhere around the third or fourth rape, I think this person probably should be put into some kind of secure psychiatric facility for the criminally insane, possibly in a straitjacket on a relatively permanent basis. I don't know if they still do that, but you know, that's just me. I mean, I'm looking at it through the eyes of what you might consider a normal person. I wonder what perspective this guy's got on it.
But let's dig deeper into this. If you check Trump's Twitter, you'll find that he has 88.6 million followers.
Okay.
If you divide this by the number of women he's raped, you get this number.
Go on.
This is the percent of women. This is the percent of people he rapes who he knows.
Right.
Which is an extremely insignificant percentage.
I'm with you.
Although it is true that for any normal person, raping 36 women is pretty bad, for Trump, he is very famous. So the chances of him raping a woman are extremely low compared to the number of women and people he actually knows.
Well, you know, I am surprised because I found that extremely convincing. Can't really see a fault in that logic at all. Definitely the best reason why it's okay that Trump has raped 36 people, allegedly. In fact, if I'd heard about this before the election and I was eligible to vote in the American election, which I'm not because I'm British, maybe it would have made me vote for Trump.
And if you also factor in him being white, the chances of him going to prison also significantly drop, which is why him raping 36 women is insignificant and shouldn't affect his presidency.
Wow. That's all that really can be said about that. Wow-a-roonies. And yikes, I suppose. Ooh. And they say that education is liberal indoctrination. Anyway, the less probably said about that, the better. On to the next clip.
Okay, so let's talk about this whirlwind of a day we had. Starting in Nevada, the GOP legislators met and contested the vote, which then in turn made a chain reaction where 7 other states are now contesting the vote, which brings Joe Biden down below the 270 electoral vote. But in true fashion, the media tells us that he won. He got all the electoral votes, and that's all we need to know because the media never lies to us, you guys.
Yeah, but the evidence also says that Biden won because Biden did win. They counted the votes and it came back that Biden had more than the votes that Trump had, not only across America as a whole, but through your weird electoral system. He won in every way you can imagine, and it has been contested. There's been investigations and they found that no fraud was going on. People took it to court and it was laughed out of court because there was no evidence and it was absurd. So yeah, every single fact that you can possibly find tells you that Biden won.
And he made this awesome speech that really honestly made no sense, and all I can remember is him coughing up a lung, the parts that I actually saw on Twitter. But you guys, they're panicking because they know Trump won, and it's going to be so awesome to see what happens on January 6th, and I still have 100% confidence that Donald Trump will be reelected.
Then you're 100% insane. But she is right about one thing. It is going to be fun when Biden is sworn in. I just literally can't wait to see what will happen to all these people who've been living in cloud cuckoo land. I wonder if some of them, I suppose a sizable proportion at that point, will take the black pill and realize that they've been lied to, or at the bare minimum, they've been mistaken that Trump won, or is going to win, or is going to do anything about it. But I imagine probably the larger proportion of these completely bonkers election denialists will still be somehow trying to claim that Trump won. I mean, what happens at that point? Do they say that Trump has put on a Biden mask and Biden is Trump? What happens when they are watching on TV in other places Biden running the country? How will they be able to use their cognitive dissonance to get around that? And that, to be honest, is what I'm most excited about as a person who's a sort of connoisseur of bizarre and outlandish beliefs, especially those amongst the right wing. I can't wait to see what excuses they come up with for this. It's gonna be beautiful. Anyway, just a quick note. I didn't really want to talk about it too much, but I think I probably should mention it. In Britain, Christmas has been cancelled this year, they say, because especially in London and other places too, I believe, we've been put into a tier 4 lockdown, which basically is the closest to house arrest as they can legally do right now, because we've got a horrible new strain of the virus which is far more aggressive in its contagious properties, and it's going to be tough for a lot of people. But what we should remember is, although we can't be physically close to our loved ones, we can still make the effort to keep them in our hearts and make contact and experience solidarity with other people's difficulties in any way we can in these difficult times, because that's what it's all about. Happy holidays, everyone, and a merry hyena secular Christmas to you all.